Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with another process video in my Life Crafted album, and I am using, of course, the Cocoa Daisy New Chapter collection, but this one looks a lot different than the ones that I've been using previously. I absolutely loved this graffiti style paper, and when I saw these two photos of Joe and I, one me taken in 2011, and yeah, no, 2010? Yeah, 2010, and him taken just earlier this week, I knew that they would be the perfect pick for this paper. So I've got both of these photos printed out, and I'm backing them both the same because the whole point of this layout and the title of this layout is going to be mirror images. This photo that I found of Josiah on my camera, they were playing with my camera and he took this photo and left it on my camera, and I was immediately struck by the photo of, or the resemblance of the photo of myself from 2010. And then when I found the photo and realized it was 2010, I realized that in my photo I'm 25 years old and in his photo he's 15 years old, and the symmetry and beauty of these two photos really deserved a layout in my album, so that's what I'm working on. And I have these cutoffs from the edges of the paper that I'm using as sort of a divider in the middle of the paper. And originally I was going to have these flaps sort of open to titles, but the concept wasn't working out quite the way that I wanted it to. I wanted, like, it was too many moving parts for a layout like this, especially when I really wanted to be able to compare the photos easily. So I have the titles on the inside flaps of these two offcuts, but I'm going to change my mind and move the titles to directly underneath the photos when I start putting it all together. So I'm just sort of making sure that they are in the same place. Going to make sure that I'm punching my holes as I go along, so I'm always aware of the holes. I'm using a Life Crafted album this year, which is basically the same concept as my traveler's notebooks on rings have always been, except just a little bit more sturdy and secure. So these two cards I made in my DIY Your Scraps video that came out last Friday, and you can watch that video. It's on my channel. It's like the last video on my channel, or second to last, or not the last video, the video before the last video. And so these are already done and ready for me, and so I don't have to do anything else to them except add in my journaling, and they look super cool. And like, I put in a lot more work into this page specifically than I actually did because I pre-made them, so I pre-did the work. They will have to be changed just slightly because I'm putting this card, the journaling card, on the side with my photo, and it says today on that flare, and so I want to switch that today over to the side with Josiah, of course, because that one was actually today. And I decided I don't need two 2021 references on that one card, so it will replace that. I do need to cover up the back of this card since it's sticking out, so I'm going to use this matching paper that I used to map my photos with. That way we're creating a little bit more balance as well. And then I'm going to glue the two backs together, or the two flaps together, so I don't have to worry about what's going to go like on the back of those, because they're all just going to overlap and it's going to be pretty. So you can see me flipping it all together and deciding that that was where I wanted how I wanted this flap to work. So I'm moving the alpha stickers over. Got those done. After I adjust the alpha stickers again, together. I am always so fussy about these letters. Alright, so I'm going to take these off the rings and I'm going to add in stamping. So I decided to add the years in just to re-emphasize the different years, and that will also that's also part of the reason why I'm taking off that black chipboard that says 2021 on it, because so many 2021s. I don't mind it written out on the card and then also stamped, but having it 3 times in one spot was really sort of bugging me. So I'm using Catherine Pooler Inks Orange Twist, because the orange really matches this layout, and I thought it was a good contrast to all the blue on that card and on the paper strips. So I stamped a little bit messily because of all of the chipboard and things on the back, and I decided to leave it there like that because I actually enjoyed it on that side. But then this side I really have problems with because of all of the texture, and so I have to pull off the chipboard and re-stamp, and then it comes out pretty perfectly when I re-stamp it. So I go back and fix the 2020 or 2021 to make them both perfect. See, it came out pretty well. There we go. So let's go back and fix that 0. And the 2. I love the way that that orange looks on this page. I don't use orange often, but I've used it twice in the beginning of this album, so I'm kind of amused by that. For 2 different reasons too. Obviously the orange in this one matches the product, but the orange on my Taylor Swift layout matched the photo, so it was kind of interesting. Okay, so I need to find a replacement for this one, and I'm going to use this photo chipboard. There we go. Okay, so this is actually pretty much done with the base of this layout. I'm just going to add in a little bit more embellishment. So I'm going to add in some stickers and some chipboard, and then I realized that once I turned the camera off that I had a plan for this page, and I needed to incorporate my plan for this page. And when I do that, it really brings it all together. I mean, obviously it's fine and it looks good now, and I really enjoy the way that this page came out, but the final edition really makes it perfect. I love the way that this layout came out, and really it's because I started with such a dynamic paper that it really has so much pop and oomph to it. I'm repeating the circle motif on both sides of this spread now because I just wanted a little bit more, like I'm just trying to make everything mirror, right? Everything's symmetrical, not necessarily perfectly symmetrical, but having that pattern to fall back on and making sure that everything is sort of matches on both sides is kind of what I'm going for. So I'm going to use a bunch of these colored word strips on this page, and I'm kind of going to hide them, not hide them, but I'm going to stick them in the paper. And at first I'm sticking them just randomly, and then I realize that there's little arrows on the paper, so I'm going to use the arrows, and I'm going to point at the words with the arrows. And I'm also still going to nestle some in the same color that the word strip is too. Just kind of not hiding, not camouflaging, just kind of incorporating, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So now I've turned off my camera and come back and realized that I really wanted to add in some stamps, and I have these Catherine Pooler camera stamps, and duh. So what I do is I stamp them on black and then I fussy cut them out, and they become this sort of sketchy vibed embellishment that really goes really well with the vibe of the layout. And look, you can see how cool that looks. I left the little flashy marks on, but then I decided that they were sticking out too much, so I'm going to take them off and incorporate them separately. And it really needs to go over this blank space on the photo, so I'm going to pull up that chipboard and I'm going to pop them up on pop dots. And I have all this extra space on this side as far as like height wise from that flare, so I'm going to make sure that they nestle together well so that the flare goes right on the side of that camera, and so I don't add extra space to the layout, and they work together. So that's kind of what I'm checking here. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side, making sure it doesn't go where that flare is. I really like the idea of this oh snap because of the realization of how much the photos mirrored each other, and also oh snap is pretty much a 2010 slang, so how perfect is that? Okay, so I need to add in this chipboard, and I decide also after I've turned the chipboard off, of course, turn the camera off, of course, that I decided that I want to round the corners of this flap. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to be all done. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. And I will see you next time. Thank you.